Guys, our friends at Ridge have done it again. After creating the world's greatest wallet, they have now launched the Ridge key case. You no longer have to be bulked down by your old jangling keychain. You got to try it out for yourself. Click on the link in the description below. Use the promo code Chael. That's going to get you 10% off. And look how good it goes with my Ridge wallet. The Ridge key case secures between 2 and 6 keys. It organizes your keys in a compact silhouette and folds out for easy access. There are 6 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and my favorite, burnt titanium. The Ridge team is so confident that you like it, they're going to let you test drive it for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. Go to ridge.com/Chael to save 10% today, or just click on the link below. All right, Tyson Fury is back. Now, I don't have a lot of the details here. Tyson Fury, who was retired, is now back in the sport. And the retirement was a little bit weird in the first place, okay? The retirement went like this. This is going to be my last fight. I'm never going to do this again. I'm doing it at home. Everybody come out and see me. Great. 93,000 people pack an arena. Great. The fight's over. I'm retired. I'm taking my gloves off. Thank you all for coming. By the way, you might have noticed this giant gentleman standing next to me is named Francis Ngannou, who's a world champion, and I'd like to come back and do something with him. It's not going to be a fight because I retired from fighting, but we're going to sit down, going to put our heads together. We're going to come up with some rules. We hope you all tune in when we do this. Now, if any part of what I just said sounds condescending, I don't mean for it to. That's exactly what happened. It was a retirement with the future opponent standing in the ring for the first ever face-off. That happened. Okay. X amount of time goes by. In that X amount of time, Francis Ngannou, who's a sitting UFC champion, does not get an opponent, and we're told it's because there's a contract dispute, he's not going to be coming back. Now, we don't know how much that is being tested. In all fairness, guys, that might be being tested 100%. We don't know that. Because in conjunction with the story, the timeline that I just told you is an injury. Francis's knee is hurt, and a guy always gets grace. Guy always, no matter what the dispute is, no matter what's being put in the headlines, being talked about on the .coms, gets to get his body better. So while Francis is doing that, and we believe through speculation that that is all going very well, Tyson Fury has come out of retirement. That's very important to note. If Tyson and Francis are going to go do whatever Tyson and Francis are going to do, I mean, the whole thing is never going to get any clearer than what I just left you with. I'm retired. And I'm telling you this. I'm telling you, the world watching me, that I am retired. And I'm telling you that while standing with my next opponent. We're just about to do our first ever joint appearance. Like, that happened. This isn't me trying to be humorous or lead you down a story of rhetorical riddles. Okay. Whatever that is that they're planning to do, whatever we're going to call that, which we can't call boxing because apparently they're going to make up some rules. If we try to piece that together and say, look, Francis is big enough and Tyson is big enough, this whole thing is going to work. You get some guy clever with a big bank account that can pull this off. It's still hard to tell the story if Francis is retired. I mean, it just is. I mean Tyson. If Tyson has such a lack of regard and or respect for his opponent, in this case, that he's going to come off the shelf of retirement to take him on, it just hurts. The story's a tough one to tell when you're doing a sport that yet to have rules, so it's yet to have a name. It's hard enough. So I think that it is very helpful that Tyson has come back. But I still want to add to that. And all I have here is questions. By the way, I don't have the answers. Like, when I ask you guys stuff, when I speculate around Francis, I don't mean it condescendingly. I mean it quite sincerely. How does this play out, at least within your mind? Like, what is the roadmap on this? Okay, so Francis is going to be out until December. That we're being told. We can also confirm that because all of the pay-per-view dates are booked up until December. So we know this evidence to be true. Okay. If he gets the paperwork done and he gets his agreement that would allow what's called a carve-out, meaning he's not exclusive to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, he could go and do a boxing match with Tyson Fury. And to my understanding of Francis's words, if we were to take them literal, which is probably always a mistake, but if we were to take them literal, he doesn't have to go box. He doesn't have to have the right to box. He has to have the right for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go against Tyson Fury. So let's say we put that specific carve-out. December rolls around. Everything's cool in the gang. The UFC has got to get on with it. We got a top contender. We're going to contest it and set the date, but Tyson Fury is busy. He's boxing somebody else. So Tyson tells Francis, you go handle your business, I'll handle my business. On the back end of it, we're both going to go find each other. I mean, like, is that the way that this works? I'm asking. As much as the story doesn't work for Tyson to be on the shelf and disrespect his opponent so much that he comes off the shelf to fight him, you still run into a problem if Fury's plate is full and the dates and the calendars don't match up, right? Right out of the gate, there's 52 Saturdays in a year. Those boys are going to fight on a Saturday. There's only 52 of them in a year, so you're already limiting yourself. What does it mean now that Fury's coming back? Oh, and by the way, it's not for Francis. Like, I have to wonder those same things. We've been really talking about Nate Diaz going in there with Jake Paul. Like, we've got this whole thing figured out. Nate wants out of his contract, and he'll fight anybody. He's got greener pastures. He's got this massive fight with Jake Paul. I don't know that I've ever heard Jake talk about Nate. And the only time I've heard Nate talk about Jake was 2 weeks ago when he called him a fool and said, I'm not going to box him. And Nate doesn't usually mess with us. He's got every right to. Nate's got every right to do whatever he thinks is best to manipulate and massage the media and the headlines. I'm just sharing with you, historically, that's not what he does. This is the same guy who was offered Conor McGregor, which would be the biggest fight in the history of unarmed combat. He said, I don't want it. A day later, he signed to fight somebody else. He meant it. He really didn't want it. I just don't know that we know as much as we think we know. I don't think we know what Nate has in mind. I don't think that we know that Nate wants to go over and do something with Paul. I think we're reasonable to believe that Nate still wants to stay in combat. I think that we're reasonable to believe it's probably even boxing. I don't hear him talking about ONE FC. I don't hear him talking about the Professional Fighters League. I don't hear him talking about Bellator MMA. He's never said he wants to sit down and renegotiate with the UFC. I mean, I think that we're close. I think we're at least looking in the right direction, but I don't think we know as much as we think we do. And Fury returning from retirement, right? One thing I really like about Fury is he at least appears to me to be this bigger-than-life superstar that's a very grounded, regular guy. That's just how he appears to me. He gives shout-outs on social media to famous people, but he also just gives them to everyday fans. He appears to be hungry. He appears to get mad at fellow guys that aren't out looking for competition, guys that are looking for money as opposed to merit. He just seems like a regular guy. Whether he is or not, he's won me. I'm a fan. But I'll tell you why I like him. I like him because he appears to be the same guy now as he was when he was trying to represent Great Britain in the Olympic Games and the World Championships. He was just looking in there to get in from a pugilistic standpoint and make sure I got better skills than my opponent. I'm going to touch you more times than you touch me in an allotted amount of time. He appears to have that same hunger. And when he came out of retirement, he even called a guy and he said, quit running. Called a guy by name, a specific guy, said, come do the trilogy fight, quit running. Now, I can't be mad at the guy. Not only can I not produce the guy's name, but I can't be mad at him anyway. How is the guy supposed to come to Fury? How's he supposed to call him out when Fury said that he was retired? Now it's supposed to be a trilogy fight. I'm going, man, that's interesting. I know everybody that's ever beaten Fury. Well, then I go look it up. No, it's a trilogy fight, and then it's part 3. And we got to stop doing that, guys. Quit calling part 3 a trilogy. A trilogy, for colloquial terms, okay, for verbalism and retorts within our sport, has to be uniquely reserved for when you have split the first 2. When you go to the third fight and you're 1-1, that's when you have a trilogy. If you go kick somebody's ass twice and you want to go kick their ass for a third, we can't call that a trilogy. We got to start calling that a third fight. Kind of important that we get this right. It was a little bit misleading. Fury came out in his own call out and said, I want to go to the trilogy fight. What Fury just told me is that this guy's already beat him, which turned out not to be true. He was now sabotaging himself. Had I not done that level of research and looked it up, I'd be going through life assuming Fury went 1-1 with this boy. And whoever the guy is who just got his day made, now he's getting called out by the most famous boxer in the world who was previously retired. I got to give him a pass. I can't now. I can't tomorrow. If the guy still doesn't step forward, still doesn't have the contract, all right, great. We'll label him a chicken. But to call a guy out that we thought was retired, and by the way, what does it mean for Francis? And why do you guys keep thinking that Nate is going to fight Jake? I'm asking these questions, but I've asked them before, and I've never once been given a clear answer.